The title of Black CEO Denied First-Class Seat 45 Minutes Later, Airline in Chaos, carries a powerful story about prejudice, resilience, and the inevitable exposure of truth. At first glance, it shows how quick people are to judge, based on appearance rather than character, status, or accomplishments. A successful CEO, someone who worked hard to reach the pinnacle of success, was denied a seat he rightfully paid for simply because of the color of his skin, or because he didn't fit the stereotype of what others imagined a first-class passenger should look like. This act of discrimination wasn't just a rejection of a seat. It was a rejection of his identity, his dignity, and his worth in that moment. But stories like this always carry a twist, because truth has a way of coming to light, and the moment it does, those who were arrogant in their judgment face the chaos of their own actions. The chaos that followed wasn't just about a disrupted airline schedule or angry passengers. It was the chaos of shame, guilt, and exposure. Imagine the staff who refused him, realizing later that they had denied someone not just wealthy but powerful, influential, and respected. Their actions reflected the ugliness of bias, and when it came back around, it wasn't just the CEO who was vindicated. It was a lesson to everyone watching. The chaos becomes symbolic. When you mistreat someone based on shallow judgments, you create ripples of disorder that come back in ways you never expect. 45 minutes later, when the truth revealed itself, the airline likely scrambled in panic, not only to correct their mistake, but to face the embarrassment of what their decision said about them. This speech is not only about one incident on a plane, it is about life itself. Many people are denied their first-class seat in society, opportunities, respect, recognition, simply because they do not fit a mold. They may look different, come from humble beginnings, or be underestimated because of where they stand now. But when the truth of their capability, their intelligence, or their status comes out, those who denied them are left in disarray. The CEO's experience is a metaphor for anyone who has ever been told, "You don't belong here." It is a reminder that belonging isn't granted by others. It is earned through resilience, success, and the courage to rise above prejudice. There's also a deeper motivational lesson in the chaos. The CEO could have reacted in anger when he was denied. He could have shouted, demanded recognition, or fought for immediate justice. Instead, by allowing the situation to unfold, the power of revelation became far greater. When the truth emerged naturally, it held more weight than if he had demanded it up front. This shows the importance of patience and self-control. Sometimes the best response to injustice isn't immediate retaliation, but allowing time to reveal the truth, because the truth carries its own undeniable authority. For the airline, the moment of chaos became a lesson in humility. In those 45 minutes, they went from dismissing a man to realizing they had humiliated someone of great stature. The reversal was powerful because it stripped away their assumptions and showed that arrogance and bias will always collapse when confronted by reality. This chaos wasn't just organizational, it was moral chaos, a sudden realization that their values had been exposed, and everyone could see it. For the listener of this speech, the takeaway is clear: never let others define your worth. You may be denied opportunities, disrespected, or overlooked because of shallow stereotypes, but that does not diminish who you are. Your worth is not in the hands of gatekeepers. It is in your preparation, your achievements, and your resilience. When the right time comes, your truth will emerge, and the same people who doubted you will be forced to acknowledge the power they tried to ignore. This story also inspires us to treat others with respect, no matter who they are or what they look like. The CEO's experience shows how dangerous it is to underestimate people. Behind the person you dismiss could be greatness you don't see. Behind the person you overlook could be the one who holds more wisdom, power, or strength than you can imagine. By judging too quickly, you set yourself up for chaos when the truth is revealed. In the end, the CEO's first-class seat was more than a chair on an airplane. It was a symbol of recognition and respect. When it was denied to him, prejudice tried to reduce him, but when his identity was revealed, the tables turned completely. The chaos that followed was not his loss. It was the system's failure, a moment when the truth exposed the weakness of discrimination. For anyone listening, this is a reminder that your place in life is not decided by those who doubt you, but by the truth of what you've built. And when that truth comes out, no amount of prejudice can deny it. Prejudice leads to embarrassment because it blinds people into making decisions based on shallow assumptions rather than reality. In the story of the black CEO denied his first-class seat, the airline staff made a judgment call rooted in bias. They looked at him, saw his skin color, his appearance, or perhaps his calm demeanor, and decided he didn't look like someone who belonged in first class. This kind of thinking is not uncommon in society, where people are quickly categorized by race, gender, or background, and those categories then dictate the treatment they receive. But when the truth came out, when it was revealed that he was not just a passenger, but a wealthy and influential CEO, the staff who judged him were left exposed, and the embarrassment they felt was the natural consequence of their prejudice. What makes prejudice so destructive is that it operates on false certainty. The airline staff thought they knew who he was, but in reality, they knew nothing. They made decisions without context, without knowledge of his achievements, his struggles, or his identity. They reduced him to a stereotype, and in doing so, they treated him with less respect than he deserved. This is the danger of prejudice. It strips people of their humanity and places them in boxes that have nothing to do with who they really are. But when the truth emerges, as it always does, it shines a harsh light on the arrogance of those judgments. The embarrassment isn't just personal, it's public, because others can see the injustice exposed for what it is. The chaos that followed in the story represents more than organizational disruption. It symbolizes the collapse of false assumptions. For 45 minutes, the staff thought they had control of the situation. They thought they were enforcing standards or protecting the integrity of first-class seating. But when they realized they had denied someone who not only paid for his seat, but also embodied the success and power they failed to recognize, their authority crumbled. The embarrassment they faced wasn't just about denying a CEO. It was about being caught in the act of discrimination, an act that revealed their own blindness and bias. This kind of embarrassment is unavoidable because prejudice always underestimates. When you judge someone based on the surface, you will eventually be confronted with the depth you overlooked. The black CEO wasn't just a man sitting in a seat. He was proof that success and excellence exist in every community, regardless of how society tries to label them. The staff's refusal to see beyond their assumptions became their downfall. This is a universal lesson. Whenever you underestimate someone, you risk being humbled when the truth comes forward. The story also highlights how prejudice is often tied to power. The staff believed they had the power to deny him his seat. They saw themselves as gatekeepers, deciding who belonged and who didn't. But the moment the truth surfaced, the power shifted completely. The same man they dismissed became the one who exposed their ignorance. Their embarrassment wasn't just about one mistake. It was about losing the authority they thought they had. Prejudice creates a false sense of superiority, and when it is shattered, the humiliation cuts even deeper, because it reveals that the power was never real in the first place. Embarrassment in these situations also carries a moral weight. It forces people to confront their own values, or lack thereof. The airline workers may have convinced themselves that they were just doing their job, but the truth exposed that they were acting out of bias, not policy. The CEO's calm presence made their actions look even more disgraceful. His dignity highlighted their lack of it. That contrast amplified the shame, showing that prejudice not only hurts the victim, but also degrades the character of those who practice it. The lesson in this story is that prejudice will always turn into embarrassment when truth emerges. It might take minutes, days, or even years, but eventually, reality exposes the lies we tell ourselves about others. The Black CEO's experience is a reminder that greatness does not wear a uniform that others can easily recognize. Success does not always look like what society imagines it to be. And when people act with prejudice, they reveal more about their own ignorance than about the person they judge. The embarrassment is not accidental. It is the natural outcome of trying to measure someone's worth by stereotypes instead of truth. For anyone listening to this story, the takeaway is simple: treat every person with respect, because you never know who they truly are or what they carry within them. Prejudice might make you feel powerful in the moment, but when the truth surfaces, it will leave you humiliated. The airline learned this lesson the hard way, and it serves as a warning to all of us that respect should never be conditional, because dignity denied to others will always return as shame for ourselves. Patience and truth have power because they carry a weight that arguments, anger, or force can never achieve. In the story of the Black CEO denied his first-class seat, his reaction was just as important as the injustice itself. When he was told he did not belong, he could have exploded in anger, demanded recognition, or created a scene to prove his worth. Many in his situation might have done so out of frustration, and no one would have blamed them. Yet his patience, his willingness to let the situation unfold, gave truth the space to reveal itself in a way that was undeniable. The calm restraint he showed was not weakness. It was strength, because it allowed the reality of who he was to hit harder than any words he could have spoken in that moment. Truth has a way of surfacing on its own, and when it does, it carries more authority than any defense. By staying patient, the CEO let the staff's actions stand as they were, without interference. He didn't need to argue his case because his very existence, his achievements, and his position carried a truth that would soon be revealed. 45 minutes later, when the staff realized who they had refused, the impact was far greater than if he had announced it up front. If he had shouted, "I'm a CEO, I deserve this seat," the staff might have complied reluctantly, dismissing him as difficult. But by remaining silent, the truth hit them with full force, leaving them no excuse. They had to face their mistake, not because he demanded respect, but because they had exposed their prejudice in front of everyone. This patience also symbolizes discipline, the ability to control one's emotions, even when treated unfairly. That control is a form of power many people underestimate. The CEO could have lost his composure, but instead he chose to let the moment breathe, trusting that time would do what anger could not. This is a lesson for anyone facing injustice. Immediate retaliation might feel satisfying, but it often weakens your position. Patience, on the other hand, allows the truth to arrive in its own time, and when it does, it has a force that cannot be argued against. The chaos that followed at the airline was not the result of confrontation, but the result of truth finally revealing itself. The power of truth also lies in its ability to shift perspectives. Before the revelation, the staff thought they held control. They assumed authority over who deserved first-class treatment. But once the truth came out, that authority collapsed. Their confidence turned into embarrassment, and their certainty turned into chaos. The CEO did not need to prove anything. The truth spoke for itself, and patience gave it the platform to shine. This demonstrates how truth, combined with patience, can flip power dynamics completely. Those who seem in control lose their footing, and those who were dismissed emerge as the ones holding dignity and strength. There is also a deeper wisdom in this approach. Sometimes, the best response to injustice is not to fight on the level of the person mistreating you, but to rise above it. By staying calm, the CEO refused to stoop to their prejudice. He refused to validate their assumptions by reacting in anger. Instead, his patience preserved his dignity and magnified the impact of the truth when it came out. It showed that he did not need validation from them. He already knew his worth. That self-assurance is what gave the moment its power. For the audience of this story, the lesson is clear: trust the truth. Life may deny you opportunities, respect, or recognition, and it may tempt you to lash out or fight back in frustration. But when you know who you are, you don't have to beg others to see it. Your patience allows your achievements and your character to reveal themselves in ways that leave no doubt. Truth does not need force, it simply needs time. And when it finally comes to light, it silences arguments, dismantles prejudice, and commands respect. The CEO's silence during those 45 minutes was not passive. It was active strength. It was the confidence of someone who knows that truth cannot be hidden forever. The chaos that erupted afterward was proof that patience is not about waiting quietly. It is about trusting that reality is stronger than perception. In the end, patience and truth proved to be more powerful than anger could ever be, turning humiliation into honor and injustice into a lesson that no one could ignore.